If it's a day called today, we're talking guitars and life. I can guarantee you ain't ever seen a guitar review like the one you're about to watch, Jack. Why don't you run on out to the kitchen, grab yourself a Diet Coke and some popcorn. Meet me back right here, Jack. Let's get into it. Well, my friends, you are looking at an unadulterated Tease guitar. What I mean by that is, I was talking to Torsten, the owner of Tease Guitars, for those of you not in the know. Those of you who hang on the channel know who T is very well. Now, hey, if it's your first time, welcome, Jack. T is the owner of Tease Guitars. I was talking to T the other day, man, just about Tease guitars in general. And let me just fill everybody in who doesn't know. Tease Guitars has their guitars made in China. They send over prototypes of what they want, and China sends them back results. So after they've worked out a model that they can feel proud of and put their name on, they order the guitars. The guitars come from China, straight from the factory, in a box that looks just like this. Guys, this box has never been opened, okay? Then the guys at Tease, Torsten and his merry band of techs, do basic setups on every Tease guitar that gets sold. Now, you can, when you purchase a Tease guitar, get a pro setup if you want to, but we're not talking about that today. We're talking about the basic setup. So I thought it would be interesting. In fact, I wanted to know so badly, what does a Tease guitar look like from the factory, Jack? T, what do you and your team have to do, man, to get these guitars ready to come to customers like myself? Guys, I've purchased all of my own Tease guitars except for one that was given to me for review, and we did copacetically give that guitar away to a young college student in town. You can find that in the playlist in the description below. Just look for guitar giveaway. Well, my friends, I said to Torsten, man, I tell you what, let's do, Jack. Let me buy a guitar from you, but I don't want you to do one thing to it. In fact, I don't even want you to open it, Jack. I just want you to ship it to me. When it gets there from China, you send it directly to my house. This guitar arrived just about an hour ago, and I'm going to open that guitar up, and I'm going to find out exactly what it takes to get this guitar ready for somebody who might want to play it, Jack. And I thought you guys would like to come along for the ride, my friends. I'm going to move over to the workstation. Come on over with me, Jack. Now, guys, before we open this box, I just want to let you know I have no idea what's in here, baby. Because if you would have seen the outer box that this came in, oh, you know what, man? Here, take a look at this mess. Today's video is brought to you by the good folks at UPS, who never damage your property, Jack. Guys, I don't understand this, man. A big old "Don't Step on Me" sticker, and this is what I got, man. Look at this. Clearly it has come. I don't know what is going on at UPS, Jack. Why? I don't know, guys. Well, maybe there's a guitar inside that box, inside another box that ain't totally in two pieces. I guess we're gonna find out. It's too early for a rant, baby. Yeah, guys, I got no idea what we're in store for. Let's check it out. Well, all right, my friends, here we are at the workbench. We do have the Tease guitars where all the action is box. And guys, as I mentioned before, baby, this box has never been opened, man. This is the factory tape on it. You can probably tell that, and I don't have anything to prove if you don't take my word for it, guys. If I don't have my word and my integrity, I don't have anything, Jack. So got nothing to prove to you guys about that. All right, my friends. Well, straight from the factory. So when you order a Tease guitar, Torsten and his team in New York receive the guitars in a box exactly like this, taped exactly the same way. They open the box to find out what was shipped over. Something like that. Looks pretty good in terms of the gig bag anyway. So for those of you who don't know, with every Tease guitar that you receive, it will come with a gig bag. I was just looking to see if there was anything in that pocket. That's a Nothing up my pocket, nothing up my sleeve, baby. All right. So let's see what we got, Jack. And you know, man, Torsten would not even want me to call this a gig bag. You know, man, it's more like a dust cover. It might be all right if you wanted to, you know, sit the guitar in your closet like that, but you don't want to like go through TSA with it or anything, or you know, do too much with it, Jake. So the gig bag, I mean, it does have a cool, you know, embroidered logo on it. Looks really nice, but it's not, like I said, man, it's really a glorified dust cover. Not as thin as some budget guitar bags that I've seen, but certainly not a gig bag, and he wouldn't want you to call it a gig bag either. All right, so on the rubber band here up at the top, we've got your trim bar and your 4mm truss rod key, and there is also a saddle key in there as well. All right, guys, well, we'll start up here at the headstock and see what we got, baby. What do we have? What do we have, my friends? Yeah, we've got us a Tease ST1 with barrel trees. Okay, that's great. And standard closed back tuners, made in China with a serial number on it. That's pretty cool. All right, let me get this bag off, guys. Well, it looks like we got like a seafoam green kind of color, man. Yeah, man. So it's an ST model, so you got your belly cut here, you've got a hand carve up here, you've got the sculpted neck joint up here. Yeah, man. Pretty good looking guitar, I think. And yeah, man. Just keep doing what we're doing here, Jack. Man, how's your day going, guys? Man, what are y'all working on, baby? Man, put it in the comments section, man. I want to know what you're working on. You're working on any cool guitar projects? By the way, do not eat this, Jack. It's not good for you, baby. Zero nutritional value in that. And if you're not working on a guitar project, man, you're just sitting around with a guitar on your lap doing some strumming. If so, what you strumming on, Jack? I want to know, man. Put it in the comments, man. Got some wax paper around the old strings there. All right, now if you were to get this guitar at your house straight from the factory, what do we have? Now, do you guys hear? Hang on, guys. Riggins, you hear this dog ringing that doorbell? Oh, man, this dog. I tell you what, man. Everybody who hangs out on the channel knows that my dog Riggins, there's a ribbon with Christmas bells on the back door, and he rings the bells when he wants to go outside. All right, I'm just kind of going through things. Guys, we're going to go over in playing position in a minute. I'm going to get some measurements for you. I'm just looking the guitar over to see if it's got any issues or anything like that. I don't see any neck pocket cracks at all. That's good. The strap buttons are tight. Yep, they're all tight. Trim cover looks to be in all the right places. Don't see any major. The way that outer box looked, man, I'm just trying to give it a good once over. And those of you who hang out with me know that in my unboxings, I tend to be a little giddy and sometimes I'll miss something. So I'm just trying to be a little extra cautious and careful with you. I don't see any dents or dings or anything on that neck. I don't see any dents or dings on the headstock. I don't see anything like that. All right, so let me tune this guitar up, Jack. Straight from the factory strings, never been played. The tuners, the A tuner is very, very stout to turn. The E is a little bit easier. Now, guys, we haven't gotten anywhere near to a setup part of the show. We're just giving a first listen, okay? Hopefully you'll hear this little amp a little bit. Bridge pickup, 4th position. Just checking the tone. Checking the volume knob. Okay, middle, second position, the neck, you can hear the frets kind of scratchy. Can you hear that? Yeah, super scratchy frets. The fret ends on this guitar consistent to the edge of the fingerboard. They're rounded, so there's no sharpness. I can feel them, but they're not sharp. Same thing on the bass side. All right, so we have working electronics. Hey T, I got working electronics, baby. And all my tuners seem to function anyway. I haven't tested to see how they're going to hold up long term. All right, let's do a couple of things together. So the action out of the box, the 12th fret is like 0.11, aka pushing 3.25 real hard, between 3 and 3.25 on the bass side. On the treble side, you're rocking 2.50, okay, or a little bit north of 0.10. So you've got really kind of unplayable string action. Now in a basic setup, T and the guys will get this to 1.75 on the 12th. So when I go to set the guitar up later, I'm going to start with that idea in mind. The nut action is not, so when I talk about nut action, what I'm saying is that the distance between the first string and that first fret. So when I hold down the third fret and I fret the first fret with my index finger, I've got quite a bit of real estate there. So what that means is we need to file that nut slot down. And that is something that they would do in the basic setup for you. So when I get a new guitar, one of the things that I like to do is I like to make sure that everything is taut, okay? So I would take, if I have the strings on, I would take something like my Dunlap Uni-wrench. Hey Mike, I stole your idea and put blue tape on this so it don't scratch anything, man. And I just want to make sure that all of these are taut. So the bass E need to be tightened a little bit. Yeah, I need to do this with the string. You know what? I got a better tool. Hang on. Where's my little... Guys, I got a little wrench here. Man, who keeps moving my stuff, Jack? Guys, I keep telling y'all, you can hang out, but you can't move my stuff, man. Oh, I was looking for that yesterday. Huh, weird. Don't worry, I found it. That's good. I thought we were getting fired. Yeah, if anybody ever gets fired, Mr. Critic, you're going to be the first one to go, baby. I keep telling you that. All right, guys, this is a 10 mil little wrench that came with something that I purchased. And there you go. Yeah. So, yeah, guys, all of these machine head nuts are needing to be tightened. They are loose. Okay, so you want those taut, but you're not building a spaceship, bro. You don't need to tighten it down like all the way. You just need to snug them up. Snug them up. Shout out, Snug. What's happening, baby? Pray you're doing all right, my friend, and writing some good tunes. All right, so we've tightened all of our nuts here. Let me check the barrels. Imagine those screws are taut. If they weren't, those barrels would go flying across the room. Ask me how I know. Those are all snuggalicious, baby. Yeah. All right. Okay, guys, regarding the tuners. Now, this is the older model ST1. So these are 14-to-1 standard tuners. They're not locking tuners. Closed back tuners, as we call them. Now, the newer models have 18-to-1 tuners on them. However, as it relates to the basic setup and the value of that, one of the things on this guitar is that these tuning machine heads don't have a lot of slack in them, but some of them, the A tuner in particular, is very difficult to turn. I mentioned earlier that it was taut, but man, it is, compared to the others, the E and the A are very difficult to turn. So I'm going to go ahead and loosen them up just to see if that does anything for us. Okay. Now they're flying. Okay, you see that? So sometimes all you got to do is either loosen that screw a little bit or turn it a little bit. Again, you don't want to over tighten it. If you over tighten it, it's going to be very difficult to turn. And if you over tighten it like for days, then you could potentially break that. All right. So the E feels pretty good. The E is now much easier to turn. All the other machine heads, maybe the B could be just a little bit more taut. So anyway, just to let everybody know that this is one of the things that in the basic setup, when the guys see that something like this, they will take care of that for you. Whether it's adjusting those screws or sometimes, they get a bad tuner, and if they get a bad tuner, they'll swap it if they need to oil it or whatever it is they need to do to resolve the issue. Yeah, the G machine head has just a little bit of slack in it. Okay, so this is the kind of thing that will go into your basic setup, is that you wouldn't have to deal on that your own. Now, the reason that this is important is that anything that's difficult to do on a guitar, particularly if you're just starting out, is going to hinder you from playing. In other words, you don't need any obstacles in your way when you're trying to play the guitar. You want everything to be, well, as effortless as it could be in terms of the mechanics and the functionality of your hardware. So if you've got tuners that are hard to turn, if you've got string action that's super high, if you've got intonation and the notes don't feel right, if you're buzzing anywhere on that guitar neck, you're not going to want to play the guitar. And usually what happens is that a beginner will just think the instrument isn't the problem. Oh, I must be the problem. Anyway, guys, just want to say a little bit more about these tuners and talk to you a little bit about what Tease will do to make sure that your tuners are functioning properly and that you've got what you need to rock and roll, Jack. So we've tightened up the nuts on the machine head. Okay, we've tightened up the screws. I'm going to check this output jack one more time just by way. I'm going to stick it in there, see if I can move my cord. No, it's pretty good. Might need to snug it up just a smidge. One of the other things I'm going to check, I'm going to make sure that my bridge screws are taut, and they are all taut. Now, I don't play with a trem bar at all. In fact, I deck all of my bridges on all of my strats. I just don't do the whammy thing, okay? However, in the interest of full disclosure and all that, let's just throw the whammy on here and see what happens, Jack. All right, so the whammy bar does work. We'll never need that again. Let me tune this guitar up, Jack. The neck feels pretty good. Now, what I would do to this guitar neck is what I do to all my guitar necks. I take a little bit of 2500 sandpaper down the back of that neck, and then I would take a little bit of True Oil, and I'd take a little bit of that Howard Feed and Wax for that silky smoothness, baby. That's what I would do. We don't know if we have unlevel frets, and the reason that we don't have unlevel frets right now is mainly because our action is so high. Now, by way of relief, let me just tweak this truss rod just a smidge, okay? See what that gets us. Tweaking the truss rod, we're tweaking the truss rod. Everybody loves to tweak the truss rod. Tweak the truss rod. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I just can't help myself sometimes. Well, I probably could, I just don't want to. All right, guys, so about 2 turns of the truss rod there. Quarter turns, about 2.5. And here we go. So I've got the Music Nomad string height gauge. It has instructions on it. So capo the 1st fret, hold down the 12th fret, 6th fret, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This gauge should, in theory, go under there, and it does. Okay? It lifts it just a touch, but I think we're going to be all right. So with our guitar has been tuned, our relief is where I like it anyway. Action. So that brought our action down from whatever it was before. It's about at 2.25 on the bass, just north of 2 on the treble. Okay. See if we have any high frets on this bad boy. Now again, I didn't experience any buzzing. Again, the string action was set to space. So when your string action is in space, you're really not going to have any fret buzz more than likely, unless you really got something awry. But if your string action is that high, man, you're not going to be able to play the guitar, so it doesn't really matter. All right, my friends, we've got our strings out of the way, and let me just check the straightness of my neck one more time. Yeah, man, I was thinking, man, I'll just wait for the work vids, and then I thought, you know what, man, let's just check them now, baby. All right, my friends, we have 1, 2, 3 frets that would need attention. So if you bought this guitar and it came from the factory, you're going to have to level some frets. Part of the basic setup is your frets will be leveled. With the strings off now, I can also tell that not only were the strings scratchy, but they do have a little bit of buildup on them. So they really need to be, whether we had unlevel frets or not, they would need to be polished. All right, guys, let me normal this thing up. So after ascertaining that we do have 3 high frets, that's going to probably jack with our ability to get our action set where we don't have a lot of buzzalicious. However, we're going to give it the old college try. All right, guys, so I'm going to attempt, keyword is always attempt. I'm going to attempt to get us to 1.75.
If it's a day called today, come rain, sleet, or snow, we're talking guitars and life, Jack. Get your popcorn, a Diet Coke, and come on to the show. Let's go! TED Talks, Guitars, and Life.
All right, guys, well, we've got the guitar 1.75 at the 12th. And yeah, man, it plays. Super scratchy frets, as I mentioned. We tuned, we did our relief, we've done our action. Okay? The I is for intonation. So what we're looking for, and when I hold the guitar up like this, I'm just trying to make sure that my saddles are straight. Okay? They're all at a little bit different heights because of the radius. Okay, to get everything to 1.75, the radius will look a little bit different. Okay, so even though the height is different for the saddles, all of the saddles should be flat across. Okay, you don't want your saddle tilted one way or the other. Horizontal like. It's the way I understand the world anyway. Put it in the comments, guys. So now we're going to check our intonation.
TED Talks, Guitars, and Life. TED Talks, Guitars, and Life. What's the point? It's Tuesday night. Ted's talking guitars and life.
All right, my friends, let's see. We did tune the guitar. We did set our relief by adjusting the truss rod. We did adjust our action by lowering the saddles to 1.75 across the 12th fret. We then did intonation. So if you're sharp at the octave fret, which is the 12th fret, so if you play open E on the treble and the 12th fret on the high E string, you should be in tune. And if not, if it's sharp, you go toward the bridge. If it's flat, you go toward the nut. and you dial it all in. We got it all dialed in by way of our tune, our relief, our action, and our intonation. The nut. Now the nut needs to be filed down just a little bit. So guys, if you hang on the channel, you've seen me do this a time or two. If you're new, hey, welcome, Jake. What we're going to do now is we might as well do this, guys. I've come this far with this thing, man. We've come this far, we might as well. Now I am going to have to come back. I've got 3 unlevel frets that I'm going to want to address, Jake. So there's a couple of different ways that you can tell about your nut. So one is a music nomad or any kind of gauge will get you there. All right, so I can get that file into there all day long, guys. Okay, so what that would require, I'm not going to do the work now. I'm going to come back in another video and I'll deal with the frets and I'll deal with that. I'll just show everybody, just in case you're curious, what's involved in this deal. What would be involved is taking some kind of file. This is a Music Nomad Diamond file. These are very expensive. You can get this done with, actually, next time you change your guitar strings, just save the ends of them and you can use those. You can use something like this. It really doesn't matter, guys. Just know this. You don't want to cut your nut slots too deep. If you cut them too deep, it can be resolved by using a little bit of baking soda and CA glue, some would say. There's all kind of methodology you can find for that out on the interweb. I'll let you do your research. Filing that involves having some kind of tool and filing that nut down just a smidge, okay? And then you would do that until one, either you use your gauge or you eyeball it with your finger on the 3rd fret and you press down on the 1st fret and you're looking for very little movement. All right, guys. Well, gee, what have we learned today? Well, my friends, we have learned that a Tease guitar from the factory, a Tease guitar that Torsten would end up with in New York, would come in a box. And it would need some work, guys. And I've talked to Torsten, and I know that some of them need a lot more work than others. No 2 guitars are the same. All right, my friends. Well, I hope the video, if nothing else, demonstrated the value of the basic setup that Tease Guitars offers. Okay. Now, again, Tease is going to do it exactly the same kinds of things that I did, although with better expertise and tools. They will make sure that everything is tight. They'll go ahead and they would have done the same thing I did. They would have tightened those nuts on your machine head. If they found a tuner that needed attention, they would have replaced it, whatever needed to be done. They would have filed the nut slot to the appropriate depth. They would have checked the frets. They would have leveled the frets. They would have crowned the frets. They would have polished the frets to 1500. They would make sure that your action is 1.75 across the 12th fret. And they would have made sure that your guitar is intonated. Now, one of the things about intonation, maybe you're asking yourself, okay, well, if I can buy a Tease guitar and I get the basic setup, what's the difference between the basic setup and the pro setup? Well, with the pro setup, you get to choose your brand of strings, and instead of just 1500 polishing of the frets, there'll be higher grit of sandpaper, better polishing is what I mean. And the other thing is that these, when I lowered these saddles, I now have saddle screws sticking up here. You probably can't see that. I'm trying out a new camera. I don't know if that's working for us or not. Put it in the comments, guys. And so they do have shorter saddle screws of the 1.5 mil persuasion. With the pro setup, what they would do is they would swap those out for shorter set screws. Guys, I don't want to make any promises about what a pro setup is or is not. I don't have any notes in front of me. I'm not selling pro setups for Torsten, but I did think it valuable for you at a couple of different levels. One is we talk all the time about the value of a good setup. And so maybe something we've talked about tonight has been helpful for you in that regard, just understanding it a little bit more. Guys, a lot of you are worlds down the road from where I am. You could do this in your sleep. You could teach me lessons, and many of you do on your channels. I learn from you guys all of the time. Thank you very much for posting your great content. Now, as it relates to Tease Guitars and what I wanted to do tonight, I just wanted to demonstrate what Torsten and his team has to do to these guitars from the factory. And get this, guys. I think the new ST models that are coming out, they're $179. And everything that I just did would be included in a basic setup. Okay? So if you were to take this, man, today is the day, guys, just timestamp the video. Today is the day that I interviewed John, Smoke Eater Guitar, and we were talking a lot about kind of setups and how he got into, he's actually a guitar tech. People bring him gear and he sets it up for them. And we were talking about kind of how he got into it, and you know, he got into it for the same exact reason most of us get into it, and that is because if you take your guitar to a guitar tech to be set up, they're going to charge you $100, man. The basic setup is worth at least $100 that you would have to pay somebody if you don't know how to do what everything that I just did. Now, again, I haven't actually done the fretwork yet. I just marked the high frets that I need to deal with later. I'm saving you guys some time, and you're welcome. That said, though, the basic setup that comes with every Tease guitar, man, is what I've done that you don't pay for, man, is an amazing, amazing thing. So, guys, if you have any questions about Tease Guitars, you can run out to their website. This is not a paid review. This guitar was not given to me. I purchased this guitar with my own money for the purposes of making this video. Man, I hope it was helpful. Do me a solid and put it in the comments. All right, well, guys, I can't thank y'all enough for hanging out with me and talking about guitars and life tonight. Special shout out to the Jacks, our channel members, for your love, support, encouragement, and edification. Guys, if you're in the market for a Strat guitar, $179, and that's for the new model. This is the old model. The new model will have the roasted maple neck. It'll have a truss rod adjustment in the heel of the guitar, some really cool colors, and every one of those Tease guitars, my friends, will come with a basic setup, everything I just pointed out to you, and I really do hope it's been helpful. Well, as always, wherever you are in your guitar journey, I pray it's a long, smooth, safe, joy-filled ride for you, Jack. Hey, rock on with your bad selves, everybody. Catch you down the road.